Okay, thank you everyone for coming to this special meeting tonight here with County Council. This pertains to strictly the Switzerland County emergency response, the budgets, the appropriations, just really the monetary issues, right? And that's the lane that we will stay in tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting to Grant Dean, President of Commissioners, to give us your input on what's going on. So,
okay, thank you, Randy. So as you guys may have been aware, obviously we're working with Emily, our new head of our EMS department, and then in last meeting we were reviewing recommendations by her and our consultant on some changes to wages. The biggest driver behind the wage change is our ability to gather and retain talent within that department, predominantly in paramedics and EMTs. Right now, we're operating with 2 paramedics. Our previous director, Nadine, was filling a lot of those spots. Because we're down to 2 paramedics, Emily has started filling in some, but for the last, I don't know, probably 2 months, those 2 paramedics have been working so much overtime. One, they're getting burnt out, and 2, from a budgetary standpoint, we're blowing the budget out of the water. So the goal is to get change into effect and recommend some new wages on both paramedics, EMTs, whether it be basic or advanced, so we can bring some new hires, give Emily the tools she can retain. The analysis was done to surrounding counties. It was done to some of the local hospitals, where a lot of people who even live here in Switzerland County are going and taking jobs in these other areas, because when there's a $5 or $6 difference in pay, who can blame them from an hourly rate to go down the road? To give you some scope at numbers, our current year-to-date salary spend is about $225,000. That puts us on pace to spend $586,000. At the current budget is $442,000. So at the current rate, we're going to be about $145,000 over budget. The good news is we're going to bring that down. The biggest reason, we've got half of our shifts are being covered at overtime rates. You're paying time and a half. So to get back to our recommendation, if we can, the commissioners approved our recommendation and the recommendation from Emily on the new rates. If we can get these approved, we get it staffed, we'll go down to staffing full-time at normal rates, as well as get the guys that are getting burnt out some reprieve. So at our last meeting, some of those numbers we approved, and the ask of you tonight would be to approve the change from a basic EMT from $15.72 to $18. An advanced EMT would go from $17.49 to $20.50, and paramedics would go from $18.37 to $24. Now, a couple of those, obviously some big changes, that puts us pretty much in the sweet spot of where some of the surrounding areas are. We're not going to be the highest paid, but we're definitely not the lowest, which is what we are today. And I think based on benefits and those that are local, that we feel like we can be competitive. We've got some people that are coming up through training right now that are going to be done later this year. The goal is to keep those folks, as well as I think Emily's already got a few names, and we'll start trying to get that staffed in time. So the reason I brought those numbers earlier, the numbers at current burn rate and what we're trending at the new rates, that would have us running at about a $307,000 remainder of the year. So it brings it down about $90,000 would be the delta between. No, I'm sorry. It would bring it down 145. It would bring it down $55,000, more or less, than if we continue paying people overtime for the rest of the year. So we're able to get full-time people, increase wages, and reduce what our current run rate is. So
if they get them in here this week, get them in by July.
So the way we ran it at
That's starting the pay period of June the 5th.
Starting June 5th. Yeah. So we looked at it from a pay period, so it lined up with their pay periods. There's a couple assumptions there. I think we estimated at 3 basic EMTs and 3 advanced. I don't know, realistically, is that a good baseline, or do you figure it'll be?
I think that's even a high estimate. Advanced are very hard to come by. I don't think we'll have that many full timers.
So if we end up with more basics, that's about it's a $2.50 savings per hour if we have more basics. So throughout the rest of the year, I think that number, honestly, I think can still go up, because even if we pass this today, Emily can't have people in the job tomorrow. There's definitely some ramp up period over the next few weeks and months. And then I think that we still working with Gail to get some funds moved around so that things have been paid out of the proper budgets. But this is a fix or what our current status is for this year, knowing that as we go into budget season here in a few months, then Emily can come back and say, okay, what is an annualized fully staffed budget look for next year? We know it's going to be more than what we're spending today, but it will be less than what we're spending today, more than what we have budgeted today. But that's for Emily and the commissioners to work on here the next few months. So again, I think the primary ask is of the salary ordinances, so we can start moving in the right direction, and then we'll continue to work with Gail. Our thoughts was that we would finish June, so we'll be halfway through the year, and then we can come back and work with you guys halfway through the year. She can give an update on what staff has been hired, what's the current scheduling look like, and then give you a much better number on what additional funds are going to be needed for the rest of the year. But the point being, if we don't act, that number just continues to be, will get bigger than what we can stop the bleeding.
You
With
guys,
this budget or with these wages, that allows Emily and I to work together to strongly push recruiting
So
and to get our.
you're gonna see eyes on this one more time as commissioners before the 5th. You have one more meeting, right?
No, that'll be our first meeting,
That'll be the first meeting.
meeting of June.
Okay,
June
second, so I heard what you just said, Leanne. I don't think we've ever done it here where we do wage and benefits, gross benefit costs. So I think that would be a big benefit to you in trying to recruit people. So,
So I will say that both our consultant and Emily have taken into our benefits into account when looking at surrounding wages.
No way.
Right.
That definitely was a factor. I'll say that is part of the reason why our wages aren't the highest, because we have some really good benefits. But within, and I don't know if you want to speak, but some of the benefits in some of the surrounding counties in the EMS are at, like Norton's, for example.
Yeah, our healthcare benefits are on par with everyone else and they're cheaper, but that's not enough to bring people here. And because we're fighting Norton's, their health insurance is going to be expensive because they're a hospital system. So people will save that, but again, it's not going to be enough to bring that.
So the short answer is we're looking at the benefits as a whole, from a whole package. But it's where we kind of came up with these numbers with consultant, ourselves, and Leanne and Emily both spent a lot of time on this.
I think I can ask about like what kind of revenue, I don't think I can, because that's within the budget for sure. Do we look like, as far as getting more, receiving more money in, I mean, it does look that way,
I
doesn't it?
think she's got through the backlog.
So two points. Yeah, 2 points on that. One, the way the budget, right, wrong, or different, the way the budget is set up, if you have it there in front of you, when it comes to EMS fees and insurance, the revenue that gets collected, which is year to date $169,000, it'd be your second line on the first page. That's your year to date collected insurance and EMS fees. The big thing to note, that's not budgeted. There's a zero budget in that. And that's, again, how it's been done in the past. However, I think when we ran the numbers, I think that puts us somewhere in the 350,000 pace for the year. that's unbudgeted revenue that will be going into this there's a bucket.
And
So
then-
then if you go to page 3, at the bottom, not the third to last line, there's the beginning adjustment. There was a $623,000 was in that bucket, which that's where that EMS stuff is going. There has been some expenses out of that. That current balance is at 485,000. So there's a bucket of money there that is growing.
Money
It
can't
used.
be used for payroll if it has to be. I did find that out.
Okay, so it can be used.
It can be. I
Now
know
that-
that she's wanting kind of save that for ambulance.
There's other things. So the things like ambulance purchases that are necessary, that can quickly eat up some of that. But the point being is the way the budget was set up, it's a zero budget line that we do have revenue coming in. So without looking at all the numbers and knowing everything that Emily's going to do, could it be sustained and cover itself through the end of the year? Possibly. But I think there will be a little bit of shifting of if we said we covered it, then all of a sudden maybe there's an ambulance that can't get purchased, or there's no longer a maintenance fund. The other piece that I'll bring up on that is when Emily started, we had a backlog of several hundred billable runs. I think that number is down to 4. Which is to be hugely commended on Emily. That was a huge growth for us. Many of those were old enough and they were past due that they could not even be billed because they were outside the window.
What was our loss there?
It was 6 figures of money that couldn't be billed. But what I'll say is we're now up to date, and I don't know if you want to speak to what your expectation on the process going forward, so we don't ever get to that issue again.
I spoke with Jason Smith, who is our district EMS manager through Homeland Security, and he's walked me through some things to kind of streamline it. Once we get shift supervisors, they're going to be responsible for auditing the runs before, so we have a 24-hour turnaround. There's never going to be a backlog. The only time we might be out of that 24 hours is if we have volunteers who are taking backup runs. So they're coming from home, they're going to go back home and do their run sheet. And then January 1st, Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement is going up significantly. Most of our runs are Medicare, Medicaid. We're only getting $160 back per run. It's going up to $400 and $600.
So to quantify that a little bit, the number of runs that were behind was about 33%. So you're going to get a third of runs that weren't getting billed. And I don't have the number on what, I think actually the number was in the $500, I think it was about $500 average per run. So a third of your runs, or at this point was 300 runs times 500 is your potential increased revenue. So those numbers, the 169,000 that we've got currently year to date, potentially goes up a third. And that is something that having those done, not only because we've got somebody in there that's on it, but that state, it's required that we've got to be compliant. We've got to have those in on time.
We do have somebody working in there part-time, doing the billing and all that too.
Yes, Greta Griffin, she's helping with like purchase invoice, and she does time and attendance.
A couple of years ago, we used to put money in the budget for the revenue. And you remember why we pulled that out? We did it with Sheriff's Department too. I feel like Jack Miss pulled it out, but I can't remember.
It's just because you couldn't count on it. It wasn't absolute, because you really don't know.
I mean, nothing in the budget's absolute.
No, you're right.
And if that budget number goes to 0, then the department is dissolved.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
So
I don't remember why.
And I don't know if it's because it's a government sector, but I mean, you guys do whatever you want, but I would say if you look back for the last 5 years and we brought in $350,000 a year, put $250,000 in the budget, you can probably count on,
That was
right?
my,
But
I can't
I
remember
don't
what
know
Miss.
where that, and my hope is if that 350 potentially becomes 500, just with us billing properly, and then even, that's not accounting for the increase in rates from, well, just the increased payout.
Just for future reference, I think we need to put something in that budget. I don't care if it's $1, it's driving me nuts.
I bet it probably had something to do with advertising and
It did,
how far under levy we were.
we were off like $100,000 and we pulled like $300,000 out of the sheriff's budget when they were housing prisoners. But she
Well,
wouldn't let us go
and at a
back in.
smaller scale, there's things like the tech center that gets some revenue for leasing offices. That's not budgeted.
Yeah.
But it's paying a lot of utilities now,
Yes.
now that we're getting it rented out.
Gaining revenue, which saves us money. We'd have to put in the budget to cover things if that money's covered.
Correct.
So they should go in budget
Basically,
stuff.
but it's going back in their bucket. It's
But
going
they go in
in,
budget.
in their revenue.
That
Yeah.
departments should be
Well, I figured-
accountable for bringing in, if they're a revenue driver, that they should be accountable for.
What you told me of what we had budgeted for this current year, what we've used to date,
Yes,
and what you think we're gonna need the rest of the year, we're only $85,000 off, really, about, probably. That's if things go exactly as planned.
correct.
So, I think that that's gonna be made up in revenue easily, to tell you the truth. But, I would like to make a motion that we do change the salary ordinance for those three positions. For the medics to 24, for EMT to $20.50, and for basics to $18.
Making a motion to.
Yes, I am.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion on the floor now by Lisa to raise those pay scale up to the said, what Rank mentioned, I've got them all written there, 18, 20.
24, $20.50, and $18 for the basics.
I have one question. The salary ordinance was never changed for the actual director, when she got her raise. So can we lose that in there as well, or does that have
So
to?
it wasn't changed? Oh,
or-
I remember when,
I said
Yeah,
everything around
we need to do that,
discussion,
so.
That's not,
But doesn't have to be done this meeting.
that's not this meeting.
No, but I'm just
But we'll
putting
need
it
to-
out there because I didn't even know that it had been changed.
make sure it's on our agenda the next meeting.
Please. Okay. Get back to topic
She's still
here.
getting paid, right?
Yes,
Nope, 100%.
No, okay.
Just write us a check.
but we just need to fix
That's
that.
Pro bono for how long?
Okay. All right, so we do have a motion on the floor by Lisa to accept the salary ordinances for the three positions. Andy, you second? Any more discussion, anything? No? So as long as all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No? So, no opposition, so motion carries, that's right.
Thank you.
Yes, hey, that's no problem. No, thank you. As far as I say, as far as any more possible revenue needs for that up there. like I
Yeah,
say, let's-
again, we
let's keep
will,
planning it out.
our plan is to work with Emily and give her all the tools she needs to get staffed.
Okay.
And then here in about 5 weeks, we'll have a better idea. Now we'll be exactly halfway through the year. She'll have had time to get some people hired and understand what the outlook looks like, that we can come back and say, look at a bigger number for the rest of the year on what that number looks like, as well as what revenue potential is.
Okay,
I
and
mean, I know you said that you can't get that money back. We have this consultant, he has no contacts, no, I mean, we share his report with somebody. and this is
So
what
we will get his report, is due to us, I believe early next month,
Mid-June.
mid-June, yeah. As far as I understand, and Emily probably knows better than I, it's a Medicare, Medicaid federal law that like after you get past 90 days, like, it doesn't care who you are, you can't submit that.
Private insurance is generally 92 a year.
Expensive lesson,
All right.
expensive lesson.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
This is
Well,
legislative changes that affect county.
And this is effective June 5th, correct?
Do we think any of that will change
Yes.
for profit
Yes.
or revenue in the budget?
Will be within the budget, so I'll have to bring that up.
No, you think what he asked, would it have any effect? If we put a line item in the budget for revenue,
Mhm.
wouldn't we be able to keep a little closer eye on it?
Well, you got it. You have the casino revenue. Is that what you're talking about?
He's talking about revenue that they make by their building. We don't have
I think we
anything.
need to ask,
Estimate.
I don't remember.
I don't know really the reason
that,
why.
But we better ask her.
Ask Jackie what the reason why he's done that.
Seemed like there was a taxable issue or something back to the department. They put them in
I don't remember what it was.
You put them in sometime. Can't remember.
Thanks,
It's
Greg.
something we can discuss in another meeting this night.
Yeah.
Look, I'll keep it in there. So
So
we've done everything we needed to do tonight. So I will take a
I'll
motion.
make a
for-
motion to adjourn.
Lisa made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Matt, second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.